Travis Wayne Goodsell. In the news, I've heard Adidas has banned support for Kanye or Ye, whatever he's going by these days. And I can understand his situation. He's got bipolar disorder, which, if you know my position on psychology, you know how I feel about that. But because he's trapped in their system, they're giving him drugs. And it's those drugs that are causing his erratic behavior. So I can understand the problems he's going through. But to escalate to anti-Semitism...
Charles Lindell, you have a visitor in the lobby. Charles Lindell, you have a visitor in the lobby.
Cannot be tolerated. And psychologists, his drug pushers, psychiatrists, need to put a stop to it. They're the ones that are responsible for turning him into a Manchurian candidate. But all businesses are now being asked to shun and condemn Kanye. As well they should. There should be no hate. We're all the same human family. And even though we've been divided over the millennia of our human life, human history, and create different cultures that we use to war against each other with, as even in the CW reboot of Kung Fu, it's a push for the culture and traditions of China here in America, in their little town.
Sean Christensen to the lobby. Sean Christensen to the lobby.
And that was not the intention of America. America was to be the melding pot, not melting pot.
Attention gentlemen, the advanced shuttle is here. Again, the advanced shuttle is here.
Can I rip it off the wall? Will they be okay with that? And we weren't supposed to create segregated societies. Little Ireland, little Tokyo, little Hong Kong, little Japan, little Italy, little this, little that, little... And then what happened is we now have gangs that protect each littles in our nation, even when they're not littles, where they're the new subdivisions. Now they escalated to gated communities, and we're just segregating society over and over into more extreme spectrums, to use the psychological termination for which they are the cause of all this.
Charles Lindell to the lobby. Charles Lindell to the lobby. Sean Christensen to the lobby.
So the intention was to get people from all over the world to become American. One people from diverse groups to unite as one. And we failed as a nation to do that. And we're about to be destroyed because of the segregation that resulted. And so, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they're anti-Semitic too. And I've tried to teach you, tried to just read from the scriptures that explains this, but Mormons are illiterate. They are so indoctrinated by the prophets to embrace spiritual witness that they cannot comprehend the words that are written in their own scriptures. So, again, we're going to do it again for you, as everybody's going to hate me and put a thumbs down. But in what's called the Joseph Smith history, because he does use the word history, but he's not giving a history, because as all ex-Mormons know, it's not true. There's problems. They can't find the evidence that he's talking about. There's a reason for that, and ex-Mormons are wrong with their conclusion that this was all just a fraud and a cover-up to get rich off the Book of Mormon. The gold plates. He had the gold plates, but he gave them up to be rich off the Book of Mormon sales. Come on, guys. Think. And so, yeah, it's prophetic in nature. It was written in the learning of the Jews, manner of prophesying. He's talking to us right now in our day, literal our day, warning us of the day that shall burn as an oven, which is the bicentennial year next year. Yay! Who's gonna do it? Will it be Putin? Will it be Kim Jong-un? Will it be China? Will it be Iran? Will it be Saudi Arabia? Who? Will it be Trump? We get to wait and find out next year on the Death to America show. So, he starts off, owing to the many reports. Now, you need to understand how his organization was set up. By publishing the Book of Mormon, he needed people to go out and spread the word. Here's the Book of Mormon. It talks about the end of the world. And so missionaries were assigned to do this, to warn their neighbor. And in 1832, Brigham and Heber joined the church. And Brigham and Heber were put in 12 apostles. Actually, in 1834, it's when 107 was written. Joseph Smith assigns the 12 and the 70, which are also missionaries under the 12. He gives them licenses and then has a big meeting and gives the instruction from 107, which is why you do not see him talk about other quorums except for the first presidency, and he does get into the High Council later on in that chapter. But we've been so indoctrinated into thinking this church is the exact same church as Joseph's that Joseph therefore didn't have a 12 administrative High Council of Zion. But completely different church. And so it's the missionaries who are converting new Mormons, and they're believing that it's Jesus Christ, that we're Christian. Okay? Another testament of Jesus Christ. So this is what Joseph is now doing in 1838. Many reports which have been put in circulation by evil-disposed and designing persons. Who are those evil-disposed and designing persons that Joseph is talking about, who are going around spreading the word that the Book of Mormon is Christian and Jesus is the Christ? Brigham and Heber, in relation to the rise and progress of the Church of No. Willard Richards put this in. He was one of Brigham Young's 12. The source of the problem. It was the Church of Latter-day Saints. Now, the footnote in the Joseph Smith papers says that it's the Church of Christ. It's possible Joseph Smith could have put that in there. I'd have to see the original document. But that's the original name of his church. But the Church of Latter-day Saints was changed in 1834 when Sidney Rigdon raised his hand in the leadership meeting at the time and proposed a vote to change the name of the church. And they all agreed, Church of Latter-day Saints. And so it was never, ever, despite Section 115, which has the future tense, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so in 1838, it was not the Church of Jesus Christ. And there's a reason why it's not Jesus Christ. All of which have been designed by the authors thereof to militate. They're enforcing Christianity upon Joseph Smith's Jewish church with war, bloodshed. The Mormon War was started by Brigham Young's Danites to overthrow the election results in Daviess County, Missouri, which led to framing Joseph Smith to go to Liberty Jail, for which Nelson then quoted from Section 122 to send me a death threat, which ended up being here. And I told you about it. I gave you the step-by-step videos. You didn't believe. Oh no, Nelson would never do that. Oh no, and here I am. Been tested positive for COVID twice. I've lost 3 belts. Not belts, sizes. Not 3 notches, 3 belts. This gutted me. And lowered my immune system, which is now causing body dander. The church literally used the Danites with Joseph Smith to send me a death threat and attempted to murder me, weaponizing the virus. And YouTube shut me down for what again, YouTube? What again? Again, militant. The Danites have always been militant. You see it still to this day with the branch-offs. I see it with this church. Against its character as a church and its progress in the world. I have been induced to write this history to disabuse the public mind. He's having to tell the rest of the nation, hey, these bozos who've been going out on missions telling you that we're Christian and that Jesus is our Christ are a bunch of bleep-bleeps. Don't listen to them. We're Jewish. And put all inquirers after truth in possession of the facts, as they have transpired in relation both to myself and the church, so far as I have such facts in my possession. So why didn't he just come out and say, I'm Jewish, our Christ is the Jewish Christ? Well, as you can see, there's a militant organization seeking to replace Joseph Smith and his Jewish organization. This is why the Book of Mormon is coded ex-Mormons. It's not literal history, not because it's a fraud, but because it's coded. It's about the latter days and the warning of this group that is going to overthrow America in the latter days, in the coming election, which has already begun. And I told the government in advance, and they did nothing about it. So hang on, we're about to enter war, because our government failed us. The investigators, the FBI, the Department of Justice failed us.
Keith Leo, please come to the lobby. Leo, please come to the lobby. Thank you.
And so, yeah, anti-Semitism. This militant Danite group are anti-Semites. And thus why the church, to this day, still carries on as anti-Semites. And so when Nelson gets up and says, you must say the name Jesus, he's an anti-Semite. Person of wrath, militant hate. Look what he's done to me. I am a living witness to their evil. And so, yes, Joseph Smith had to encode it. But in so encoding, the Danites usurped it, culturally appropriated it, and turned it so that Mormons like us would not recognize the coding. And it's interesting that in the 1981 edition of the triple combination, they attempted to decode a lot of the Doctrine and Covenants. They obviously missed a lot, as I've gone over the videos with you. But this is why, is they want to erase from our minds any hint of coding by the Smiths, so that we don't get code in our mind and think, I wonder if the Book of Mormon is coded. I wonder if the history is coded. See, because that's how I did it. Because I knew about code, and all of a sudden, inspiration. I wonder if the Book of Mormon is coded. I wonder if that's why it's not literal history. The history. Oh, because obviously he wasn't doing anything with a rock and a hat. Ex-Mormons. And so, yeah, code. Let's test to see if it's coded. Ta-da! But it helps to get the real church history behind the message that he's giving. And so that's why he doesn't talk about his Methodist attendants and they're booting him out. That's why he doesn't talk about getting arrested for glass looking. That's why he doesn't talk about the death of his son and the loss of 116 pages and only taking a month and a half to do the whole Book of Mormon translation with Oliver Cowdery. Because Bruce R. McConkie tried to cover up by putting 1828 rather than 1829 for section 10. And so, yeah, you can see that the church is purposely covering up the truth. They're lying to us, they're deceiving us, they've replaced our origins. And so, yay, another day in paradise.